We are NBC Sports Talk 1080 The Team Orlando. Tucken O'Neill, look who we found. The CEO of the Orlando Magic, our friend Alex Martins. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm fine.
Happy New Year, by the way.
Thank you very much. It is a new year for the basketball team. Now, I'm not going to give you a softball here.
Okay.
Not that many years ago, this room was full of teams that had played in the NBA Finals. It's been a downward spiral as far as wins and losses, and fans get edgy a little bit. What's your message to them?
Our message continues to be the same as it has been over the last couple of years. We're building a team that we believe is going to sustain its competitiveness in competing for a conference championship and an NBA championship every year. And that doesn't happen overnight. And it takes, some discipline, it takes some patience, and it takes a firm plan. And we're sticking to that. And I think we're well on our way. I mean, we've got a great core, a great foundation of young men, a lot of whom are new to our organization over the last 3 years. I mean, we don't have a player on our roster now that was with us 3 years ago.
Right.
So it is new, and it takes some time for that group to build chemistry and consistency. But having said all that, we believe that from a skill level, from a character level, from a competitiveness standpoint, we've got the right core of young men. It's just a matter of letting them mold together, build that chemistry, and ultimately get comfortable with each other over a period of time.
Given the circumstances, it's certainly difficult at times to try to evaluate a head coach or a general manager knowing what you're attempting to do, trying to tear it down to build it back up, if you will, which has become pretty commonplace in the NBA now. So how do you evaluate the job those guys have done for the first couple of years?
I think they've done incredibly well. I would say that from my standpoint, they've exceeded my expectations. And all you need to do is to look at, some metrics and some measuring sticks as to, how the rebuilding process is going. And it would be hard to argue that any transaction that we've been involved in over the last 2 years that we haven't gotten the better end of. And to me, that signifies success. That signifies that, Rob in particular from a transactional standpoint is doing a good job. On the coaching side of things, we look at it in terms of metrics on the court. And I think that the majority of the metrics that we follow from year one to year two of the Jacques Vaughn era have improved. There are a couple that, I think Jacques would tell you he'd focus on for this year in terms of improving. Winning on the road, for example. But the majority of the metrics we improved upon from year one to year two. And so from that standpoint, I think everything that we measure in terms of growth, success, staying on this plan, they've been successful on. So we've been incredibly pleased.
And this is, again, with respect to this organization and to you as the CEO, it's still about chasing a championship. And all observers, analysts suggest that this team's a long way from that. I'm not suggesting you can cut corners, but in adding, if you're below payroll with the collective bargaining, and you are significantly, is next year a year where you might look at key free agents joining this franchise?
I think the way we characterize it, we say we like to be opportunistic, okay? And that's, I think, the way we'll look at free agency next summer. But what I would say is that we will be opportunistic with players that fit the mold of the character of the team that we're trying to build. So high character, high work ethic, guys who are looking to be more about the team than their individual stats, what have you. When those guys come along in free agency and we have the opportunity to, to grab them and secure them in free agency, we're going to be opportunistic and do it. So the short answer to your question is yes, we're going to be active in free agency. That's part of, building a team. But we're not going to take the shortcut to bring in the, suspect character individual who might have, the higher stat sheet that may break down or wreck the entire team concept that we're trying to build here for the future. Look, I think any basketball fan would say to you that, it was poetry in motion watching the San Antonio Spurs win the NBA championship last year. That's the way we want to see our NBA players play basketball. I think everybody would argue that's the case, and that's what we're trying to build here. We believe that we've got a core group of young men who do play like that, will continue to play like that, and now it's just a matter of getting them to continue to play together for several years so that that foundation's in place.